In this lesson, we'll learn about cat naming conventions. Before getting too far on our control rig, it's always a good idea to think about sound naming conventions we can use to help artists find objects a lot faster. So we basically want a descriptive name that gets right to the point. And if you were to take a look, let's go ahead and take a look at the left toe, just one of those objects. You can see that this naming convention may seem a bit scrambled, but once we understand how it works here, it all really makes sense. So the first part of this, cat rig, this is basically the prefix we're given from our global node. So if we were to go ahead and select that, scroll up to the top, here's that same name. So here's the prefix. Going back to the toe, what we have next is the hub that the toe is a part of. So you can see that's the left leg. If we were to select the left leg, again, here's that name. And now we move to the next object that this is a part of, and we know that this is digit 1. So this is the parent object of this object here. And then finally we have this object's actual name, which is 2. So taking a look at this name again, it can seem a bit bundled, but it's a good idea to at least separate a few of the characters here. That way it's a lot easier for someone to read the naming convention. So what I'd like to do is simply add underscores. Of course, you could always go in and add an actual name. So let's take a look at this. If we wanted to name this toe B, simply come in here to the name field underneath the digit bone setup, roll out. We could always, again, add toe B to the name. When we hit enter, you won't see the update automatically, but once you click away, click again, you'll see that the name updates. So you have that option. But again, I think just adding underscores would help much to differentiate between the bones of the skeleton. So what I like to do here is just go to the name, and simply add an underscore. And then if you'd like, you could even get more descriptive and use a different prefix that matches the character. So in our case, we could always give it a prefix of creature. You have that option. If you like to change the name, feel free to. But at that point, if we were to go to the leg now, you could see that, all right, things are starting to get clearer. If we were to go back to our toe, all right, now it's starting to make a little bit more sense. So we could do the same thing for the leg then. Selecting that object, we can go ahead and add an underscore. And now when we click away and select the toe bone, much better. So that means that for our digit here, we'd need to do that one more time for its name. So let's go to the name field under the digit setup rollout and add an underscore. So now what we're left with is a very clear name. We can understand exactly what is what here. All right, so feel free to do that for the rest of the digits. For the other bones of the leg, we may not need to do that too, as you can see, but it's those extra bones that we add that need this type of attention. So I'll just go in and add those underscores to the root bones, and we should be just fine. So again, I just wanted to point that out to you. Again, that name may seem scrambled at first, but it really all makes sense, and it's just a matter of adding a little bit more to it to make it clear for other artists. Now, also, when we go ahead and select the node here, our global node, you can see that this name here that we've chosen, if we were to take a look at the top, you can see that we also have that renamed here. So that's nice. Before, it was named simply character 01. We can see that by updating the name here, it's also taking care of the name at the top here of our modify panel. So that's just something to keep in mind. When you go in and you create, let's say a cat rig, I'll just go ahead and pick on one. Let's say the ape. If we go in and we create that, you can see here, the default name of this object may find it to be character 1. So we saw that briefly until the rig was actually built. I'm going to go ahead and delete this and show you this one more time on a custom rig. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to our create panel, select none, draw out the control, and here it is. So that's what I was basically pointing out to you. But once we go to the modify panel and change this name, let's say to hello. Now, if we were to select it again, that's the new name of our object. All right, so again, just something to keep in mind, that the system does a great job at renaming the rest of our rig for us. So with that said, let's go ahead and make sure that we keep track of that as we build the rest of this creature's skeleton. And that's what we'll work on in the following lesson.